mean, the good news for black people is they're allowed to vote for white people again, according to Barack Obama's campaign effort on behalf of Abigail Spanberger. If you remember back to the 2024 election, Barack Obama went viral for all the wrong reasons because he lectured black men. He said, you have to vote for the black lady. She's like you. She grew up like you. She has similar experiences to yours. And I know some of the brothers are reluctant and y'all look misogynistic, and lectured black voters who, by the way, voted for Trump in record numbers this time around. And I don't doubt that Obama played a role in driving them into the arms of Republicans because he was a guy who talked in a lot of sweeping rhetoric, hope and change, yes, we can. Unfortunately, when it came to delivering for black America, no, we couldn't. The black unemployment rate went up under Obama. Okay, obviously, the quality of schools in the inner cities have gone drastically down because of their support for open borders, which has overcrowded a lot of classrooms. The defund the police movement is weapons grade stupid. So the point is, Barack Obama coming out, it's like legends in concert. They're good rallies. People are into it. Like if you go down to Bally's in Atlantic City and watch the Michael Jackson impersonator, he brings down the show every single night. Every single night. Okay? But does anybody actually leave there, okay, believing they hung out with Michael Jackson?
The answer would be no.
Of course not. Okay, and it's the same thing with Obama. He gets out there and you get the nostalgia, but you don't actually move the needle, okay? At this point, if you look at Obama's effect on Hillary, if you look at Obama's effect on Kamala, people say, well, what about Joe Biden in that election? Well, to be clear, he refused to endorse Joe Biden till the end of the primaries. And most people now look back on the 2020 election and they don't necessarily believe it was on the level.
It was stolen.
I don't know that it was stolen. I'm just telling you, you have to believe that Joe Biden is the most popular president in the history of the United States of America. Just so you understand, Barack Obama won the presidency with 65 million votes. Obama got 82 million votes. Okay, 81 and a half, whatever the exact number is. Are you going to tell me with a straight face that Joe Biden was 16 million more votes popular than Obama?
Sell crazy someplace else. We're all stocked up here.
And again, I don't have the proof. I want to be responsible. But the point is, okay, Biden was not 16 million votes more popular than Obama. That being said, disaster as Biden was, Obama isn't any better for candidates other than Obama. Barack Obama, as a president, holds the record in the 250-year history of this country for the most seats lost down ballot, meaning Congress, the Senate, the House. Nobody, no president, lost more seats for his party in history than Barack Obama. And if you look at it at a national level, statewide races, he holds that record just the same. So when Obama comes out, it's like, yay, this feels like '08. Yay, this feels like 2012. But does anybody actually feel like voting? No. And one of the reasons why is time has been really bad to the Obama brand because the media no longer holds the monopoly on the political information that we share. Okay, you understand back in '08, back in 2012, those two terms he served, probably 98% of the political content consumed in this country came through the lens of what we would call the mainstream media, ABC, NBC, CBS, stuff like that. Okay, social media had such an outsized impact on political discourse by the time he left office that his endorsement of Hillary Clinton wasn't enough to get the job done. Trump beat him. Okay, straight up, Obama campaigned every day. Obama actually authorized the spying on Donald Trump's campaign, as we now know through the Freedom of Information Act requests. So he not only had the entirety of the mainstream media helping him stump for Hillary, he had his own government weaponized against a political opponent, which in, other corners of the world might be called treason. But understand, he wasn't enough to stop Trump because people were having honest conversations about what Obamacare did to their premiums. As we sit here right now, the government is shut down because of what Obama did to everyone's health care. I know there are people out there getting subsidies, and I want you to have access to health care. I know there are people out there that just got free health care because you're on the lower end of the economic spectrum. I understand that is a thing. But the only way to fix health care is to inject competition into the marketplace and let these companies compete to give you better care at a better cost. We're not doing that right now because all Obamacare did was give some people free health care while making everybody else in the country pay for it.
That's not right.
So your health care went down, everybody else's went up. And then what happened was the cost had ballooned so enormously that by the time the Democrats got back into power in 2021, they used COVID as an excuse to give $1.5 trillion in handouts to the healthcare companies.
That is financial lunacy.
Not only is it financial lunacy, but if you remember, the whole point of Obamacare was, these fat cat, they're getting too rich. They're making all this money off us. So we're not going to give them money anymore. And then what did they do? They gave him $1.5 trillion.
What a fraud.
It's even funnier, though, when you remember Biden screaming that year about how they beat Big Pharma. Do you remember that time Biden was shot up with too much B12? And he goes, we beat Big Pharma this year. We beat Pharma. Guys, that year the vaccine was mandatory for every American to hold on to employment. And the pharmaceutical companies made trillions of dollars. Okay, if that's the definition of beating them, wouldn't you all like to lose to the extent that they did?
I think he's got a point.
We beat Big Pharma, so take that $2 trillion you made in profits and go home and weep because you lost, because Biden's on B12 and he has dementia and he's screaming. But the point is the Obama thing. Obama crushed the free marketplace when it comes to health care, and people know that. So the media is saying, like, Obamacare was good. Nobody cares. Nobody believes the media. Okay, the Iranian nuclear deal. The guy gave $50 billion in cash, pallets of cash on an unmarked plane to the biggest state sponsor of terrorism in the world.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
But at the time, the media was like, well, this is good. This is a signature foreign policy achievement. And they all hooted and hollered like Obama had a positive impact on the world. You remember the other big foreign policy achievement was the Paris climate change accords that we've now pulled out of twice. And oh, by the way, we were only in them decimating our economy and empowering China under the auspices that climate change was going to kill us all.
Not even close.
Okay, Bill Gates gave that one up last week. He's like, actually, it's not going to kill anybody. We should relax, focus on malaria and stuff. just that was it. Like, imagine the Save the Whales people that you grew up with one day being like, actually, the whales. Nobody cares about the whales. We're not doing that anymore. They punted on climate change. Okay, they've just moved over as if it wasn't a thing. And that's why nobody takes Obama seriously. His signature achievements no longer have any favorable discourse surrounding them. I mean, when you look at Iran, which is insane, Iran has been boxed out in the Middle East. The Abraham Accords, Trump's signature achievement, got 6 Arabic nations to box out Iran and do business with Israel, somebody they wanted to blow off the map because they've recognized it's better for their long-term stability to have a trading partner, to make money, to not have a society upended by terror attacks that are sponsored by Iran. Obama gave them the money. Biden, probably at Obama's coaching, let Iran's sanctions expire, and they went from $3 billion in oil reserves to $100 billion in oil reserves under Biden. What do you think they spent that money on? Attacking Israel, the proxy attacks that they sponsor for Hamas and Hezbollah. Okay, Obama, Biden, who of course was his vice president for 8 years.
I don't remember that ever happening.
But they had a profoundly horrible impact on the world. And there was a time where the media had convinced people otherwise, because we didn't have avenues of political discourse like Twitter. Twitter is a really big deal. I know people get mad at Elon on the right because he wanted to cut the government, and they didn't like that because both parties love government spending. Believe me, Elon Musk is not out of Trump's cabinet because of Democrats. He's out because of Republicans. Republicans didn't want him there either. Guys, understand, both political parties want to spend your money.
Thanks, big government weenuses.
For real. Okay, but nobody made you spend it worse than Obama because it upended our healthcare system. Okay, a system that needs to be fixed if this government is ever going to give people a shot at equal access to good quality healthcare in which one guy isn't subsidizing the other. Okay, that's a real problem. So when Obama gets out there, and I'm going to play some of the highlights in this hour and starts running, what you'll notice is he doesn't bring up his own record a lot. Why? How come, Jimmy? The guy served 2 terms. Why wouldn't he bring up his own record? Because he doesn't have one that did anyone any good but himself.
And I'm out here in the real world, and I know what's right or wrong or bullshit.
There it is, Fox Across America with Jimmy Fallon. So excited to talk to this next guest. Superstar financial reporter at the New York Post, fan favorite on every channel, not just ours. She does great on CNN when she's on.
Aww,
you do great over there. Lydia Moynihan in the house. The crowd goes wild. Hey, girl.
Woo!
There. Did you hear the crowd, guys?
I'm the crowd.
That was a big deal. It was hot. It was a hot crowd. It's like a Sliwa rally. No, I'm kidding.
Did you see the most underappreciated Halloween costume?
Give it to me.
Sexy Curtis Sliwa.
No, I did not.
You did not see that?
I'm mad I didn't bring it up on my show. He was on my show Saturday night.
You missed an opportunity. I know. I was kind of surprised to see that.
That he was on? We were having fun with him. We wouldn't have him on like, you're going to win this thing, Kurt. You know, like that's how the whole interview ended. I'm like, the good news is everyone in the studio loves you. The bad news is they're all from Ohio. All of them. So they couldn't even vote in the election. But he's a good guy. I mean, it's just it's unfortunate that
and he's good at TV and media.
Yeah.
And
but New York never gave him a serious chance.
No.
Meaning I know there are conservatives who like him that are voting for him, and I'd expect him to do 20% tomorrow.
Oh, God.
Which would put him 30% behind what Mamdani will probably do. And I think therein lies the challenge. We're not sitting here going like he sucks. Just the reality is there's like Curtis Sliwa, as much as I like him, and I've had him on the show a lot, is, you know, he's a guardian angel. He has his red beret on, and he's been out there as a face.
He has the tan line when he takes off the red beret. It's pretty wild.
But he's been part of the cultural fabric of New York for 40 years. He's won a lot of these. He's run a lot of these races and lost, and he's not given a fair shake. So as a character, I enjoy him. As a guest, I think he's great. As a candidate, do I think he has a chance? No. And it's unfortunate.
He is a character. That is really the only way to describe him.
Yeah.
And he's very endearing. And I wonder what's going on inside of his mind, because to me that would be really depressing, running for a race I know for a fact that I'm going to lose.
But you understand, like, part of this is too, there's a lot of notoriety that comes with running that race, and you're on every show, and you know, I'm sure it's lucrative in some capacity, you know, and so he has.
Mission accomplished. He got on your show Saturday night. That was really what this was about, Jimmy.
But think about that. They're also spoofing him on SNL this weekend. You know, and so there's a visibility factor that I'm sure a lot of people like that enjoy.
People love to be relevant.
You know, and again, I would argue with anyone who wanted to call in, he'd be a better mayor than Mamdani, but I wouldn't argue that he has a chance.
He'd be a great mayor.
He'd be great, do a great job. That's the hardest thing about this. Like, let me give you a good example that people might not like on the left right now, or excuse me, on the right. If Michael Bloomberg, who was our mayor for a while, could have become president, I actually think he could have been a great president.
He would have been great.
I just don't think he could have did the job. See, like the thing about, meaning I don't think he could have gotten it is what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's the problem is in our democracy in the 21st century, it really comes down to not even who's competent running a campaign. It comes down to who does well on mass media.
Yeah.
On TV and social media. Who comes across as charismatic, likable, and that's what it's about, which is insane because that literally has nothing to do with whether or not you're actually a capable and good person.
And whether your ideas.
Make sense.
But this is the point. We're talking to Lydia Moynihan, and this is where Mamdani is succeeding. He realizes what we've just articulated, is everyone's running for class president
the people who are propping him up too.
Yes. Well, of course, the out-of-state billionaires that are helping him look out for the little guy. It's all class president. We've said this before. He's running for class president.
The irony is he actually, ran for class president, as you know, and promised free things and lost.
Yeah, and lost that
Because
too.
evidently high schoolers actually were a little bit more savvy than an average New Yorker.
Well, there's a lot of things going on. And I think specifically in this election, I don't think 80% of the people voting for him think he can do the things he wants to do. But
I don't think 80% of the people voting for him are thinking. Period.
Yeah, period. Fair. But I think part of the enticement is he's the one the Republicans hate the most, and people vote that way now. It's like, think about when California recalled Gavin Newsom. They're like, the state is such a mess. We've lost so many businesses, okay? And I know he likes to crow about like, fourth biggest economy in the world. But that's what the number was before he got there. It's not like it's not like he moved it up. It's going backwards. But he's pointing to the stats like they're his achievements,
Right.
But the point is, he got recalled by them. And then when it was time to replace him, they're like, we're not going to let you guys replace Newsom. But they recalled him, and that's what's happening in New York. Like, New York knows the Democrats have failed, but they're not going to give the Republicans a win. They're just going to go, we'll try it again.
And I know, it's so funny. It's like, oh, this has been a blue run state and city for how long? Oh, let's those policies have failed. So let's try and elect somebody even farther left. Maybe that is the answer.
When the couple isn't getting along and they don't think it's going to work, so they decide to have a baby. That is New York. Straight up right now. Like, we'll go further liberal.
It really is a remarkable rebrand that he's done, Mamdani. And now you do see the clips of him, and I don't think it's genuine at all, but he seems to be having a good time. He's out there,
at
clubbing
at
the club Saturday night, and he's dancing with cute little old ladies, and he seems like he's having a ball. And it's insane because you juxtapose that with even just a couple years ago, he was not wearing a suit.
Mm-hmm.
He was wearing like a traditional garb, and he was screaming. All of the clips I see from him from, again, even just 2 years ago, are him screaming and angry and never smiling. And now it's like a completely different guy.
Because he figured out the game. The game is you got to go be class president. We're talking to Lydia Moynihan. And what's funny is when he's distancing himself from previous statements, some of them are like 6 months ago. So like the people who think, well, he's changed. I'm like, no. The internal strategy is, hey, you can't get elected saying that. So let's just say
he doesn't even really distance himself.
I know.
Right? Like there's things where he's like, actually, yeah, I'm not sure. Like I said, defund the police. What? No, he said it like a bazillion times. And
I
mean, even if you think about it, he's so arrogant because Barack Obama was so clear that he distanced himself from Reverend Wright.
Yeah.
All of these controversial statements came out, and Barack Obama was like, I'm not going there anymore. I'm not close with him. Mamdani continues, even last month, to post photos with like people who support terror.
Yeah.
People who like support jailing LGBTQ people. Like this is ongoing.
Mamdani is posting the kind of pictures you'd normally pay someone to destroy if you're a politician. That is so crazy.
He does his own Oppo research for the other candidates.
Like for real. His tweet, like think of his tweets, like you were saying earlier. Okay, he has said these things so many times, but we're at this broken place in politics now where beating the other side is so much more important than actually vetting a good candidate for your city, and that's what'll make New York worse. Like, sadly, because New York, and I was telling this to people around the country, like, how's Mamdani going to win? It's because New York isn't as bad as it was in like the 80s or the 90s. Like Giuliani, a Republican winning New York, took us breaking a national record for homicides. Thankfully, by the grace of God, we're not there. You know what I mean? Is crime bad here? Yes. Have we seen a deterioration from the Bloomberg era to now, thanks to de Blasio and maybe in part Adams on a small scale? Yes. Okay, but it's not 1989. And the point is, sadly, the only way Republicans are going to win is if it's 1989.
If we go back to that. I also think there are so many people here who are so disconnected from reality who just want to like stick it to the authority figure who AKA is their dad who pays their rent. You know what I mean? I've seen so many people online where it's like a screenshot with their parent who's like, oh, I'm really worried about Mamdani. And then they're like, just voted for him. And it's like this moment for them clearly where they're like, suck it. Yeah. I'm going to do what you don't want me to do. But it's like the most immature thing ever where it's like they don't even understand his policy. They don't understand what he's advocating for. They have no understanding of the impact it's going to have on their life. But they're like, ha, I did the cool thing that my parents don't want me to do. It's like, does it get more juvenile than that?
No. I mean, and that's what Lydia Moynihan is making a good point, especially as it pertains to capitalism. Like the anti-capitalists, they're all the sons and daughters of people who are very successful capitalists. And all the people saying like, capitalism's got to go. There's not a single like Hollywood A-list star endorsing him that's going to give up their money. Did you see the one last week? Is such a funny one, the Billie Eilish one.
Yeah.
She's accepting the award and she's like, a lot of you guys in here are richer than me. Why does anybody need to be a billionaire? I'm like, well, who sets that arbitrary line of how much money you can have, Billie Eilish? Because you'd clearly be above it by the standard of most people, would she not?
Totally.
So embarrassing.
You go first. You give up all your money.
Never.
Yeah. Or at AOC wearing the tax the rich at the Met Gala. People want a seat at the table and they want to feel superior as they're joining the conventional things that they still want to be part of.
You know what's funny? It's like Trump is, when he was like not a politician, he was part of the fabric of New York. He was a guy that was like crass and pugnacious in a lot of the ways he is now. But because he was like a very successful guy that was accepted in every social circle, he is considered socially like a cool person. Like when Bill Maher met him, he's like, oh, he's actually like really cool. It's not like a lunatic. It's a cool person. Yeah. And that's such a superpower in politics because 99.9% of these people are not cool people. They're trying to cultivate a cool brand. They have a social media team, but you don't listen to any of them talk and be like, I'd like to hang out with him at the party,
I mean, probably if there was one person who I think I would love to spend time with in politics right now, it'd be Katie Porter. Just a lovely, warm, cool kind of gal.
Ultimate Fighting Championships. Yeah. There
are some exceptions like her.
KP, you want to be a staffer?
KJP, KP. I feel like there's like a problem. Like those are bad initials.
Kamala.
Definitely.
Anything
Kamala.
that starts with a K in the Democratic Party, it's a KKK. It's Karine, it's Katie, and Kamala. The Democrats have a KKK problem right
triumvirate.
now. Not their original KKK problem. It's a new version.
It's involved KKK problem.
Thank you. It's kind of hard-hitting journalism we do. So if we had to make predictions, we will make them in the very next segment. We have more. We have some bonus Lydia Moynihan coming your way. It is election eve. We are 1 year ago today. We were getting ready to watch the Trump-Kamala thing. Whew. So we'll go down memory lane.
It was the night before election.
Amen. The only cautionary tale I will tell you is 1 year ago today, Ann Seltzer out in Iowa issued a poll that showed Kamala Harris winning Iowa by 3.5 points. I mean,
Such an idiot.
And I say that why? Because Kamala Harris lost Iowa by more than 13, which means that Ann Seltzer poll was wrong by 16 points. We bring up a lot of these anniversaries because a year ago today, it was election eve. We were getting ready to watch Trump, get voted into office for what he would tell you a third time. Technically speaking, twice. He only gets to serve these 2 times. But the polls have always been a bit of an outlier. What I mean is when it comes to Trump, we're always like, the polls are wrong, the polls are wrong, the polls are wrong. But when we see a poll we like, even on the right side of the aisle, we're like, look, even the polls say so. Okay, there's always a marriage of convenience when it comes to politics. But in my town right now, for as much time as I've spent trashing polls over the years, it's hard for me to imagine every single poll is 25 points off on Mamdani, is 15 points off on Mamdani. Is it possible? Yeah. Do I think it's actually happening? No. And I just think he represents the new wave of Democratic politics. Young, charismatic people who are completely full of. Now, the good news is Mamdani cannot be president. He wasn't born in this country. Okay, so he's not going to be president. But he could usher in a wave of socialism. He could influence somebody that wants to be president, like, say, Gavin Newsom or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
AOC is a dope.
Is she ever? But if Mamdani wins tomorrow night, guess who the front runner is in the 2028 Democratic primaries? AOC. Because she's the one person that's been out there endorsing this guy the entirety of the time. Okay, some of the people who've come to the table a little bit late, in the service, the Elizabeth Warrens of the world, the Bernie Sanders of the world, it took until after he won his primary for them to do that. At this remote hour, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Barack Obama still not endorsing Mamdani. But at the end of the day, the money is going to go where the energy is. And in the Democratic Party, the big donors just want the power. So they're going to spend the money on whoever they think will give it to them. Remember this. Kamala Harris was so bad as a vice president, so bad, that they were talking about taking her off the ticket in June of 2024. They thought she was a drag on Biden's policies. They were going to flat out discuss the possibility of him running with a different running mate for his second term. But then lo and behold, that debate happened and Biden glitched out and they just yanked him off the ticket instead.
I am very willing to let the American public judge my physical and mental my physical as well as my mental fitness.
okay? And the donors who hated Kamala were suddenly forced to throw everything they had behind her because they just wanted to beat Trump. These are not people of principle. Kamala Harris raised $1.5 billion for a 107-day campaign. It is the largest amount of money ever spent on a presidential race in 107 days, meaning they spent more money than people spend who are on the primary circuit 2 years before the election. Like right now, guys that are going to run in 2028 are campaigning right now. Gavin Newsom is campaigning right now. He's making the media rounds every weekend. Why? To help California? Of course not. He's trying to be president. And in doing the media rounds, there's such a funny collection of clips of him contradicting himself, one of which is a clip I'm about to play you that is my favorite thing in the world. So Gavin Newsom, who famously rolled every eyeball in America on Meet the Press yesterday by saying there's nothing he likes less than when a politician goes on TV and lies, because it just drives him crazy to watch politicians lie. Gavin Newsom, forget about all the backtracking on, men and women's sports and everything in between. Somebody, I believe it was my man Maze Moore on Twitter, cut this montage of Newsom and the word Latinx. Here's Newsom on TV claiming no one in his office has ever used the word Latinx once. This is the Newsom claim. What comes next, really funny. Take it away, Josh.
Not one person ever in my office has ever used the word Latinx.
So can we finally put that to bed?
Yeah,
we agree?
but where did that even...
No more Latinx, everybody.
Well, I just didn't even know where it came from. I'm like, what are people talking about? Impactful this has been on the Latinx community. Politicians that are banning not assault rifles, but the word Latinx. Nothing I dislike more than the politician that sits there and lies to you. And we all just sit there rolling our eyes going, give me a break.
You are so full of shit.
The first clip is the word Latinx. I don't even know where it came from. Nobody in my office has ever used the word Latinx. Then the next 3 clips, Newsom going Latinx, Latinx, Latinx. Then the last clip, nothing I hate more than when a politician sits here and lies to you. Gavin Newsom is an actual sociopath. And it's so insane to watch something like that in real life. Like, you meet a lot of liars, you meet a lot of sleazy people in showbiz, but to see one operating on such a big stage, it's truly fascinating to me that he goes out there and does this. But the reason I play this is to remind you that tomorrow, success has 1,000 fathers, failure is an orphan. If Mamdani loses, believe me, they're going to be like, who the hell's idea was this? I can't believe they nominated a socialist. You get what you deserve there in New York. But if Mamdani wins, all the people that have reluctantly kind of stayed away from him because they don't want to own this thing, okay, the minute he wins, oh, forget about it. Everybody in the world will jump behind his policies. That's the way politics work. They're not principled people. They just want power. So it's something to watch tomorrow as Mikie Sherrill goes for it in Jersey. Okay, Abigail Spanberger down in, Virginia. And, of course, Mamdani here in New York. If these guys win, everybody loves a winner. If somebody like Mamdani loses, oh, you'll never hear from him in politics again.
Get him out of here. Get him out.
Okay, but the biggest problem they have is not winning these elections, because these are deep blue races here in New York. Okay, the biggest problem they have is the way forward from there, because these guys become the face of their party. And in truth, they don't really want that. Okay, and the Democrat Party is in a position right now where they're still trying to rehabilitate their image after the last election. Here's George Clooney. George Clooney is on CBS yesterday. This is 1 year after Democrats lost the election. They're still talking about it because nobody has stepped up and filled the void of, like, where do we go now? That's the Gavin Newsom problem. Like, if he really wanted a metric in terms of how he's doing on his quest to be the face of the Trump resistance and the standard bearer in 2028, the fact that we're still talking about last year's loser means nobody considers him to be the next time around's winner.
Tell him like it is.
Here is George Clooney, though, and this is so funny. I'll give you a 1-2 punch. Newsom bat and lead off, Clooney bat and clean up. Here is Newsom trying to dodge responsibility for not pushing Biden off the ticket. Clip 26.
What do you say to Americans who feel misled by you and other
top
misled in what
Democrats
respect? He decided to step
about the
down.
mental acuity of President Biden, that they wish you'd sounded the alarm sooner to give way for
I never
an
experienced.
open
Look,
convention?
I'm not going to substitute myself for someone else or for popular opinion. I'm going to express my relationship to my truth with the former president of the United States.
What a sleaze. I'm just going to express my relationship to my truth.
Thank you for the education, gentlemen. We've just received a PhD in stupidity.
But that's like an actual sociopath, because what he just said doesn't mean anything. I'm going to express my relationship to my truth. First of all, as everybody knows, you go, there is no such thing as your truth. There is just the truth. But what is his relationship to his truth? What that really means is, yes, me and lying get along really well. We have a strong relationship. So I'm not going to apologize for saying Biden was sharp. It's like the Kamala clip on Friday. She told Jon Stewart she didn't think he could run the election campaign, but he could serve 4 years. No, I don't think he has 100 days in him. But if we need 1,200 days, he can do that part. I mean, really think of the insanity of that. But what was she telling you? That he wasn't the real president. She just, yes. Could he get out there and campaign? No. But could be in charge for the next 4 years? Yes. Why? Because being in charge meant Biden went to Delaware and built a sandcastle whenever the adults needed to do something in Washington. I mean, the most iconic imagery of the Biden presidency is him laying sideways on a beach chair. There's a reason why. It's because nobody thought he was in charge of anything.
I agree with that.
But Newsom's willing to get out there and even now at this remote hour and be like, no, I didn't lie. The guy was fine. What are you talking about? My relationship to my truth is that he was fine. You know, this guy who got on stage, okay, at the debate and said the following riveting statement.
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
How funny is that? At a presidential debate, I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Can you imagine that being said on a presidential debate stage, that one party had the gall to throw a guy out there in that condition? And we're sitting here a full year later and Gavin Newsom is still telling you Biden was fine. At least that's his relationship to his truth, whatever the hell that means. But that's why George Clooney is on CBS yesterday, and he's still getting asked about Biden and Kamala and everything in between. It's because nobody's been able to move the party onward because everybody's a clown like Gavin Newsom. Here it is, clip 27.
We had a chance. I wanted there to be, as I wrote in the op-ed, a primary. Let's battle test this quickly and get it up and going. I think the mistake with it being Kamala is that she had to run against her own record. And it's very hard to do if the point of running is to say, I'm not that person. You know, it's hard to do. And so she was given a very tough task. I think it was a mistake, quite honestly. But we are where we are. We were going to lose more House seats, they say. So, you know, I don't know. To not do it would be to say, I'm not going to tell the truth.
Oh, boy. But one thing about him, well, I wrote the op-ed about Biden, you know, to tell the truth. Of course, he waited till they did a $36 billion fundraiser and all the checks cleared before he decided to tell the truth. So he duped the voters. But when he then says, well, the Kamala thing, and we wanted to have a primary, but they said we would have lost more seats down ballot. Who the hell is we? You're George Clooney. You're supposed to be an actor, making big money, selling your tequila brand, shagging starlets, good life, good racket. Okay, but it shows you just how big of a role the donors had in the huddle. George Clooney is not an elected official. He's not a party chair. He's a donor who does celebrity fundraisers. And he's sitting there telling you we would have lost Congress and we would have lost everything. Why? Because the donors run the modern Democrat Party.
It costs a lot of money to run for political office.
Straight up. But just because you have money doesn't mean you know what you're doing. Okay, and if you don't believe me, like straight up, okay, look at the people they've endorsed over the years. Look at the damage they've done. Bill Gates It's one of the richest guys who've ever lived. Just admitted last week, well, it turns out climate change isn't going to kill people. I know we said it was for 4 years. Is that a serious person on politics? Of course not. And once you discredit yourself with 4 years of we're all going to die, actually we're going to be fine, how do you take any other position he takes seriously? The answer is you don't.
Bingo.